Hi, my name is Dave Mountain. I'm an email marketer for Marketing and Advertising Direction. And today we're going to talk about some of the favorite email hacks that we have here at M&AD. These include subject line testing, checking your stuff through emulators, segmenting the lists, checking the competitors, augmenting your emails to make them seem more organic, and overall being a lifelong learner. Let's begin. The first and easiest thing to do with email testing is to make sure your subject lines grade well. There are a number of sites that will provide this information to you for free. They will do so with a black box data point that they will not completely reveal. They will vary from site to site. It's free, it's easy. You punch them into a site, you grade them, you run a quick spreadsheet to look at. Even if you do just one, it's better than not doing any. I tend to do 3 or 4 because I tend to be paranoid. This is super important, especially if your list is small and you are not doing a lot of subject line testing. The idea that you're just going to write one because your brain is so large and you know your audience so well and they care about your material so much is marketing malpractice. Run them through a subject line tester. Email service providers don't care about your big brain. They care about whatever it is that they care about. And consequently, the email subject line that gets an A or a B grade is going to do a lot better than the email subject line that gets a C or a D grade. Every time? Probably not. But often enough to make this a strong practice that you should just do? Yes. Don't send a subject line without running it through a tester. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. It's malpractice. It's like merging into traffic without checking your mirrors. Don't do it. It won't solve for every issue. There are still things that are going to grade well that may not inbox well or may not work for the brand. You can't just blindly follow the number and say this one's the best. But the idea of never grading or just running subject lines without testing them, it gives us the heebie-jeebies, frankly. Moving on. Emulator services. Emulators in email are as a SaaS product, software as a service, and they share what your email looks like on different browsers and devices. Most folks in this space know of Litmus and Email on Acid. Litmus tends to be a little bit more corporate. Email on Acid tends to be a little bit more coder, but both are relatively easy to use, and they are usually bolted into other email service providers' functionality. So if you're running through Validity and you ask them to check your email, or you're running through Pardot and you're asking them to check do an emulation test, they're both running through Litmus. The common issues that you're going to catch with these services are how your stuff looks on dark mode. Often images just wash in a way that really harms readability and you may not have even been aware of. There may also be accessibility issues for users with any kind of impairment. You will also inevitably find that your email looks terrible on Lotus Notes from 20 years ago. If enough of your list is on Lotus Notes from 20 years ago, you have to solve for that, but most of the time the 80-20 rule is in effect, and you really have to care about, say, Google and Apple and Yahoo, and that's about it. Know your list, run the emulator, and make sure that your pieces are good with it. The emulators are not perfect. They are not going to show you exactly every single time what a user will see in the real world on a device. But again, like subject line testing, better than nothing, and a lot better than nothing, and gives us the heebie-jeebies when people don't use them. Moving on. Segmentation. Bash and blast emails harm brands. They just do. They send to everybody on the list. They harm sender reputation. They treat all users the same. They're not seeming organic. They create a lot of false negative metrics that come out of hitting everybody on the list. It's a poor idea. I know you own these email addresses, or at the very least you want to use them, but don't. The dead email addresses in your list are not usable for very much. Worth keeping in case somebody reactivates. Maybe worth trying a reactivation campaign. But if you're just sending to everybody every time, you're doing it wrong. I don't know how more gently to say it, you're just doing it wrong. Filter for segmentation around geography, around affinities, personalization, targeted offer, win-back reactivation. There are any number of ways to cut this list in ways that are going to benefit your sender reputation and benefit your email program. It creates higher positive engagement. It creates lower negative engagement. It safeguards your inbox. It safeguards your sender reputation. You have to segment. You can, of course, batch and blast. No one's going to stop you. It's a free country and all, but bad idea. Segment whenever you can. Segment whenever it's of a thick enough data point that you can justify the time and possibly learn something through testing. Checking your competitor. Your competitor has time on their hands and the ability to have made a thing, and you should know what that thing is. You should look at it. You should steal from it. You should laugh at it if it's comically awful, and learn valuable lessons if something strikes you as terrible on it. There are sites that collect these emails. Really good email copy, Milled, Mailboard, bunch of places online that will collect email newsletters and see them in a visual search engine. You can also and should be looking at their banner ads, since their banner ads and their email ads should resemble each other. That's a hint. Don't look at competitors just in your category. Look at competitors that are also hitting your same market demographic. Learn from people who you don't necessarily think you have anything to learn from because they're marketing to the same people, and we're distractible humans with not a lot of time on our hands. We can learn from these things. Larger brands are more likely to have done things with significant lists. So larger brands, when they come back to a creative practice over and over again, you can make the implication that they didn't just do that based on somebody's good feelings about it, that they probably did it based on math. So consequently, there are clues that can be had from checking your competitors, checking other people in your space, checking people who are marketing to your people, but in a different category. Keep in mind intellectual humility with all this. There is no formula to a successful email. If there is a formula to a successful email, it will no longer be a formula by the time I end the sentence, because it will be copied and degraded by others in the space. Everything's on loan here. Organic augmentation is probably a word that I just came up with, but oh well. Emails work better when the individual who is getting the email doesn't think, boy, I'm on their list. How great is it that I am one of many people on their list? No, I sent this to you. I sent this to you because I thought you'd be interested in it. I sent this to you because I have a specific thing that I needed to tell you. So augment it with things that get to that point if you possibly can. Send it at non-standard times. Don't send from a do not reply email address. Allow people to reply. Allowing people to reply means that you stay out of spam folders, because who replies to spam? Don't send when everyone else is sending, or at the very least, don't send at the exact time that everyone else is sending unless you really enjoy seeing your email underperform. Augment it with these little points. Keep in mind that email is a personal, one-to-one channel. It's the only thing this person who is reading is doing at this time. Value their time. Make them feel a little special. Make them feel a little segmented. Make them feel a little out of the ordinary. Don't just tell them you're a faceless grunt in an army of whatevers. No good. All of this stuff feeds into a culture of lifelong learning. I am not the only email marketer on LinkedIn. There are tons. I'm I am not the only one providing you a webinar with email ad tech. There are tons. I'm probably not even the best at it, but maybe I am. Who knows? Share what you learn, give back. This is a community full of people. And we're all trying basically to seem smarter than we actually are by learning from data and by learning from each other. Every strong email practice is on loan. There are no best email practices. They're just the ones that we think work right now, that we should probably backtest fairly soon. Stay humble. Next step with this is email is unique, not just for the depth of its metrics. It's immersive, it's interactive, it's organic, it's ubiquitous, it's multi-device. It's never going to be perfect, ever. I've worked at monster search engines that spent weeks making sure the email was perfect. The email might have been technically perfect. Tactically, no. Tactically, it optimized for some metrics and it lived with problems in other metrics. This is a constant journey. Love the journey. Embrace the journey. Journey is feature, not bug. Encourage engagement. Embrace the journey. If you'd like us to take the journey with you, or if you find this kind of thing helpful and you want to talk more about it, my phone number is 609-955-1514. I can get you in touch with the other folks at M&A-AD. There's the email address, there's the LinkedIn channel, and there's the website. Happy emailing.